Hey YouTube, this is Yirmiyahu Weeps, and I am, in this video, I am just going to be summarizing the first 3 chapters of Bereshit, or what's commonly known as Genesis. So, I'm just gonna jump right in, and I hope that you are doing, well, good is good, but fantastic, excellent, awesome today. Oh, okay, Bereshit, chapter 1. And we have Elohim, who's identified as basically the strongest authority, the prime mover, the gentle protector. He's the one that's starting to kick things off, and he starts making, out of nothing, brings everything into being. All of a sudden, there's nothing, and all of a sudden, there it is, there's everything. So, brings it into being. Then the Ruach of Elohim, which is like the breath or essence or character, and is the feminine aspect of Elohim, is rapidly hovering over the face of the waters, the space, the plasma, the substance of all of that's just been created, okay? And I picture the Ruach, who's feminine, so it's the mothering side of Elohim, hovering excitedly. So the masculine side has just created everything, the prime mover, the strongest authority, the gentle protector, and the masculine side of the same being is rapidly hovering upon the face of this unformed, as of yet, substance. That's what I picture. So then he starts forming and dividing, starts taking what he's just brought into being, and starts forming and dividing it into everything. And he, she, however you want to call him, since he's genderless, beyond gender, greater than gender, gender inclusive, but supra-gender. So starts forming everything, light, skies, land, plants, the cosmos, you know, the world we see around us, and I personally think that fourth day is identifying his position, where he's looking from. He's looking from the surface of the earth. It's basically showing this is a place that's so important to me. This is where it's at. This is where I'm doing my stuff. The rest is good, and I have plans for that and everything, but as of now, this is where I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on Earth, and I'm focusing on the beings that I'm going to create on Earth. So I think that's why it's saying that the sun, moon, and stars are on day 4, is because of perspective. Okay, so going on, he's got, says what the functions are for. They're for signs, to let people know things, and they're for his days, his days of celebration. There's 7 of those, and let me see if I'm forgetting. And to count time. So letting people know and understand things. For knowing when his celebration days are. There's 7, and those days are not just celebration days, but they're also incredibly symbolic and significant, and teach things. They teach his plan. So there's so much to them. But anyways, and they're also for telling time. So signs, the appointed symbolic times, and for telling time, for days and years. And he goes on, he fills the oceans and makes what people call dinosaurs, which just means terrible lizards, although I don't think they were all so completely terrible, but you know, however people want to call them. I like calling them dragons. I grew up loving dragons when I was a kid. I have a soft spot for dragons, so I like calling them dragons. You see this big, huge lizard, I think it's a fair thing to call it a dragon. Anyways, so he makes the fish and the dragons, and the flyers, the things that fly, whether it's you know, birds, pterodactyls, bats, whatever, things that fly. And he Vaybarek respects, kneels before giving a precious gift, endows with fruitfulness, adores and gifted. So he adored and gifted these animals. And he says, reproduce and increase exceedingly. Have lots of kids. Now, I'm guessing that animals may be similar to humans in that they find the act of reproduction enjoyable. But, but he wants them to do it a lot. He wants to do that act of reproduction a lot. So he goes on, he makes the land animals. Each of their kind is very systematized, and everything has its function and purpose. He makes all of them, and he basically, he goes on to the pinnacle of his creation, the cream of his crop, the highlight of what he's doing is making humanity. He says, we will make Adam, which would include male and female, in our image. So we look like him. Well, he's invisible. How do we look like him? We can't look like him if he's invisible. I mean, you look at people and you're like, well, you don't exactly look like him because he's not. You can't even see him. So how are we in his image? Well, to be in his image is to be like him. So we must be like him besides just our physical appearance. It must be more of like we're moral agents, we're intelligent, we have creativity, and we're able to reproduce, things like that. So making them in his image and his likeness, and he says they will descend to or rule. That word right there, my understanding is that it can mean either rule or descend to. So it almost implies like a choice. It almost implies a possibility of going one way or the other. To descend to the abundance of the sea and the flowers of the skies and the animals on the land and all the crawlers that crawl on the land, all the little, like bugs and mice and, little things that crawl along the ground. So he's saying that maybe what he's saying is that they will descend to the animal level, but they will also rule the animal level. They will do both. So, and I think we've seen that. I think people can behave more like animals, more instinctively, more not as much rising above and being the level of caring and kind and humane, but being more animalistic in the lower sense. But then they also rule over the animals, and they've gotten the animals and the world around them to serve their purposes. Humanity's done that. So, but then there's the first instance of poetry where he's creating Adam, making them male and female. So the first instance of making the two genders is in the first instance of poetry, which implies like beauty. It's his first touch, first speaking in poetry. I think it's just like he's so enwrapped and in love with what he's doing and making people so incredibly excited about it, which is interesting. But I'll get back to that. So he kneels down, and the very first command he gives them is reproduce and increasing exceedingly. So his first commandment, the first thing he says to do, is to do that act of reproduction and do it a lot. A lot. That's what he wants. He wants people to do that act of reproduction a lot. Now he wants it according to his guidelines, but he wants it a lot. I think there are probably a fair number of people that find the act of reproduction somewhat enjoyable, but I could be wrong, but we'll see. So his first command is reproduce. Second command is fulfill or fill the land and subdue it. So don't be ruled by the land around you, but rule over it. Use it to your advantage, and responsibly and respectfully. And rule over all the animals. So don't be overtaken by the animals and the animal nature, but rule over them and do it again responsibly and respectfully, caringly, and don't stay away from the animals. Don't necessarily stay away from the animal nature, but rule over it. Don't let the animal nature and animals be top you, be above you, but rule over them. And of course, if you're going to rule over them according to the way Elohim rules right here, it's to do it caringly, respectfully. Anyways, going on. And then his second instruction, after he gives them the 3 commandments, which is reproduce a lot, fill up the land, and rule over the creatures. Then he says, I'm giving to you all the green plants that seed seeds, all the trees that have fruit, all of that stuff is for food, so that's all of your food. Eat it, enjoy, knock yourself out. And he gives the rest of the plants to all the land animals. And then the last thing that I put in this chapter anyways, that I think it makes sense to be included in this chapter, is the Shabbat. So it basically says that everything is completed. It ends all of creation with completion. It's complete. He's done it. It's the way he wanted it to be. Everything is completed. Everything that's been made, that has been made at this point, has actually been made. He's done it. It's done. And then he takes the Shabbat, which would be the 7th day, and he says, I'm stopping, because there's no more to do. I'm done. Everything is done. And this day is to be devoted to me and you two, me and humanity, because I love you. This is our anniversary. This is the day we celebrate. This is the day you celebrate with me. The rest of those 6 days, you can get your work done, you can do the things you want to do, but I want you to devote this day to me because I love you. Love you. The Shabbat, the Sabbath, the 7th day. And then it ends with, these are the children of the heavens and the land when they were filled. The children, the generations, the ones that go forth from the heavens and the land. So he makes the heavens and the land, the immaterial material, the realm of what can be seen and not seen. You know, like air, we can't see it. We can't see thoughts. You know, all the stuff that we can't actually see. Now, I think that, you know, they've gotten to a point, like say when it's wintertime and you breathe, you can see your breath. They probably can see, like, you know, oxygen, hydrogen molecules under microscopes and all that stuff. To be all scientific. Just kidding. But, you know, most of the stuff we can't see. And then the land and the earth, you know, all of the material, so the material and immaterial. And he's saying these are the things that are going forth from the substance of the material and the immaterial when I created them and when I filled them. I filled them up. I filled the earth with animals, with people, with land, with all this stuff. So that's kind of the concluding verse, in my opinion. Going on to chapter 2, is when he first mentions the name of Yahweh, which means the self-existent one. He exists. He exists independent of anybody or anything else. Everything else could go out of existence and he would still exist. He's still there. And it's saying Yahweh of Elohim, which means Yahweh of power and authority. The self-existent one of power and authority. The self-existent one who is the prime mover. The self-existent one who is the gentle protector. The gentle protector of people and of creatures. And looking around the world, you might be like, oh, I think he's failing at his job. I mean, look at, this is a mess. This is a mess. But I think there's a purpose and reason behind it, and I'll go into that later. But, so, here is when he starts focusing in. He's created everything. He's created people. He's given them some commands and instructions. And he's ceased from doing all his stuff because he's done, and he's saying, now I just want to enjoy my kids. I love them. So here it's focusing on how that actually happened with creating the kids. And let me see how I'm doing on time. Oh, my time is done. Oh man, I only went through chapter 1? I was going to do 3 chapters this. Just kidding. I'll be back if you want to watch. I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for watching. Oh, I just want to mention, while I have a few seconds left, this is only one take on the beginning of Bereshit, Genesis. This is only one understanding of it. It's got multiple layers, multiple levels. I'm only touching on one. So, Hope you enjoy. See you later. Have a good life. Bye.